computer is picking up a strange signal. Here, sir, you better take a look at it.
Hello dear listener, and welcome to episode 58 of Life Through a Prism with your host Rob Tierney. I just want to reiterate this is not a political channel, but when topics that include about government, I like to share the information and you make up your own minds on how you feel about the subject matter. So this is a follow-up article from episode 57 regarding the new Australian National Autism Strategy. It comes from hellocare.com.au, dated January the 20th, 2025. Government faces backlash over introducing an acknowledgement of autistic people following acknowledgement of country. The Australian government has faced fierce backlash after introducing an acknowledgement of autistic people directly following the acknowledgement of country in an official document. The inclusion part of the recently launched National Autism Strategy has sparked debate, with critics labelling it woke virtue signalling and questioning its necessity. The strategy unveiled by Federal Social Services Minister Amanda Rishworth aims to create a more inclusive society for autistic people, supported by a $42 million investment. However, it was the unexpected acknowledgement of autistic people and their families and carers in the document's introduction that drew significant public attention, public and online reaction. Social media erupted with responses, many critical of the move. Autistic individuals and allies expressed discomfort, arguing the acknowledgement was unnecessary and risked singling out autistic people as a point of difference. One social media user criticised the format, writing, "It's inappropriate to make this a follow-up to the acknowledgement of country and present it in the same way." Another simply stated, "Just no." Comedian and writer John Delimentico, who is autistic, called the inclusion inappropriate and unnecessary. He said on social media, "It feels tokenistic and doesn't meaningfully address the challenges autistic people face." So this is what the acknowledgement that people are talking about. Acknowledgement of autistic people and their families and carers and the autism community. The Australian government acknowledges autistic people, their families, carers and support networks. Representative organisations in the autistic and autism community have worked tirelessly and campaigned long and hard for the establishment of this national autism strategy. The Australian government also acknowledges the substantial time and commitment of members of the National Autism Strategy Oversight Council, supported by working groups who led in the co-design of this strategy and its first action plan. It's page 76 of the National Autism Strategy document featuring the new acknowledgement of autistic people. Cumberland City Councillor Steve Christou was among the harshest critics, telling the Daily Mail, "Where does this woke virtue signalling stop? These reports are taxpayer funded and it's time we return to common sense." A divided response. Despite the criticism, others defended the government's intention. Conservative commentator Prue McSween said, "Well, I think we overdo acknowledgements generally. In this case, it's recognising the value of autistic people and their inclusion in our society. It's not necessarily virtue signalling." Supporters of the acknowledgement argued it was a symbolic gesture to affirm the importance of autistic people in national discourse. One government spokesman told the Daily Mail, "The strategy was developed with extensive consultation involving the autistic community. To undermine its contents is to undermine the voices of those it seeks to support. A strategy under scrutiny." The National Autism Strategy outlines 22 commitments to improve inclusion, health and economic opportunities for autistic individuals. It includes funding for peer support programs, research into autism prevalence and initiatives to help employers create inclusive workspaces. Sebastian Langdon McMillan, an autistic advocate who contributed to the strategy, welcomed its broader goals. "This is about creating a future where society views autistic people as an asset," he said. However, the controversial acknowledgement has overshadowed the broader aims of the initiative, with the government facing ongoing questions about whether the gesture was an appropriate addition or a misstep. As debate continues, the government will need to balance symbolic inclusivity with meaningful action. ensuring future policies resonate with those they aim to support without creating unnecessary division. At the end of this article, there were 2 responses. The first one said, "What a joke. My wife and I have been the carers for our son with autism for 52 years. Government letters and emails have nonsense signature blocks and acknowledgements longer than the text of the messages. Spend more time out of your office actually with families doing something useful." And the other comment, "Where is the inclusion for people with hearing loss, brain injury, etc., 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 and all the other groups that are not included? I'm absolutely outraged as a parent of a person who has a different disability that no one seems to care about. All disability needs assistance, care, support, and acknowledgement. To single this group out makes me more angry than I can recall ever after years of love and care for a differently disabled person. Where you when they needed help. You do this, Albo, and you will lose more than my vote. And I worked and voted Labor for endless years. You and your cabinet have lost sight of what is critical, aged care ditto. What a sad end for everyone involved. If you must acknowledge all people with a disability equally, but never, ever, ever any single one." Well, dear listener, what do you think? Is it virtue signalling? Have we been, as people with a disability, not being recognised as members of society for so long that when an attempt is made, if with a genuine attempt of recognition or there's not, there is a natural inclination to ask, how come now? Or is it just that it was the new buzzwords and in 12 months' time nothing has changed? Or is it just as it is written, an acknowledgement of people and persons with autism? I would love to hear what you think. Let's have a conversation. Till next time, take care and bye for now.